Before we begin, we have a few ground rules. First, as a courtesy to fellow participants, please place yourself on mute, and this will improve the overall sound quality of the presentation. Secondly, please be respectful in the chat room. As a community of caregivers, let's try to support one another. Now, please keep what is shared today confidential. Lastly, this is a judgment-free zone, and we're all in this together. Now, let's get started. I'm gonna make myself here really small here for a little bit, so you can still see my face, but I'll be in the corner right there. And as a reminder, our workshop today is being recorded. Now, when it comes to caring for a loved one, most families and families of choice don't have a plan until a problem or crisis emerge. People can now expect to live 20 to 30 years beyond the traditional retirement age of 65. Now, more than ever, it is very important to prepare for the future so you can better meet the demands of caregiving. Recent data shown that 20-year-olds are 3 times more likely to reach 100 than their grandparents, and twice as likely as their parents, meaning we are all living together longer and will need to plan as we age. During this session, we will share a framework to help you make plans to care for family members, neighbors, and friends. You will have opportunity to connect with other family caregivers, exchange tips and advice, and learn about resources available to you and your loved ones. Nearly everything we'll be addressing today is from AARP's LGBTQ Prepare to Care guides. And I believe we have emailed you those, the guide to you guys, so please feel free to open those during the presentation or after the presentation today. You can also find the guide simply by visiting aarp.org and type Prepare to Care in the search bar. Although we'll be referencing the guide throughout this presentation, it's not necessary to have the guide in front of you. I'm also pleased to share that AARP offers the Prepare to Care guide in 3 languages. We also have the edition for veterans, service members, and their families. All of these are available on our website, of course, to download for free. On the site, you can also request a printed copy to be sent to your home. They're, of course, available on Prepare to Care Planning Guide on aarp.org. Now, to help you get a better picture of today's family caregiver, let me ask you a few questions. If any of this following is true for you, or any of the time in the past, please raise your hand or utilize the chat room. Do you help a loved one with household tasks such as cleaning, laundry, or yard work? Do you help a loved one with their medications? Do you regularly cook or provide food for your loved ones? Do you drive someone or your loved one to your doctor's appointments, make shopping trips, or run other errands, or use the online food ordering? Do you provide personal care, such as dressing, giving him bath? Do you help your loved ones with finances or paying the bills? Do you communicate with health professionals and you coordinate health care? Do you call the pharmacy, Pucci Pharmacy, for medications? Now, if you have raised your hand, you are or have been a caregiver. Give yourself in the back a pat, for all our caregivers out there. Now, caregiving may be one of the most important roles you will take on in your life. AARP's founder, Dr. Ethel Percy Andrews, was a caregiver for her parents. In fact, she left her job to care for her mother. She said, "It is only in the giving of oneself to others that we truly live. The human contribution is the essential ingredient." Dr. Andrews was an educator, and her passion was to help older Americans lead lives of independence, dignity, and purpose. She founded the National Retired Teachers Association in 1947 and later AARP in 1958. Caregiving is AARP's DNA. AARP supports family caregivers and their loved ones, both directly through programs and online resources, and more indirectly through state, federal advocacy. Let's take a minute for a short visualization exercise. It's safe to do so. Close your eyes and visualize with me. Now, for every task I read, imagine that I'm tossing you a small red ball that you need to catch and hold onto. When I read these statements, I will say your mom or your dad or your lover or your loved one, but I encourage you to think about the person you are caring for or plan to care for. So go ahead and close your eyes, feel free, and imagine a red ball if you are one of these people. You take your loved one to medical appointments. Hold that ball, pick up a prescription. If you are doing that, hold another ball. Do you organize and help ensure your loved one takes their medication? Hold another ball. Do you call the insurance company? Do you shop for groceries? Do you cook their meals? Do you mow their lawn? Do you go to work, at home, or in person? Do you pick up anyone from the soccer game or from any type of games? Do you pay their bills? Do you take them to the beauty shop, to the salon, to the barber shop? Do you change their bandages at least 3 times a day? Now open your eyes. How did that feel? How many balls are you able to juggle? We know that caregivers juggle many tasks. Now, how do you think you feel? You know, if you can utilize the chat room, put it in there. How do you think you feel when you have all those balls in your hand, carrying all those red balls? Imagine you're doing more than those 15 tasks a day. Now, here are some facts about caregiving which show it really affects everyone. Family caregivers provide the majority of long-term care in the US. The average family caregiver is a 49-year-old woman who works 35 hours a week and provides almost 25 hours of care per week. Now, more than 42 million family caregivers each year provide care for aging parents, their spouses, their aunts, their uncles, their friends, or other loved ones. Caregiving affects the whole family. Men are now almost as likely to say they are family caregivers as women, which is 40% of men and 60% women. Now, about 24% of younger Americans aged 18 to 34 say they are also family caregivers. About 12% of millennial family caregivers self-identify as LGBTQ+, compared with 8% of non-millennials in a caregiving role. According to the California Task Force on Family Caregiving, 9% of caregivers in the United States identify as LGBTQ. LGBTQ people are more likely to become caregivers compared to the general population. While caregiving, LGBTQ caregivers also have less support from their biological family members, contribute to strain on the caregivers because of family tensions surrounding the recipient's sexual identity. Now, formal support services also fall short. Most groups, for example, do not address the needs specific to the LGBTQ people. So today I'm going to share practical information to help you care for your loved one while also being care for yourself. We'll break down into 5 steps. The first one, of course, is starting the conversation, forming your team, making a plan, finding support, and lastly, caring for yourself. Step one, of course, is starting the conversation. A lot of uncertainty can be avoided if you talk with your loved one before something happens. It's easy to put off these conversations because they can be very difficult. It never seems like the right time to bring up what we think will likely be an uncomfortable topic. You may be surprised to find your loved ones has been meaning to have the talk to, and it's relieved when you take the lead. If the person you're caring for is not your partner or your spouse or legal family member, it is very important to get their permission before taking on any significant caregiving responsibilities. Now, many people find it difficult to ask for help. Taking the first step and clearly offering to be part of your loved one's support system is one of the most caring things you can do. Often families or friends avoid discussions about the future simply because they don't want to think about change in the lives of the people they love most. Many people wait until a crisis occurs before they talk about their values and preferences, their wishes for healthcare, or details about their finances. It is easy to put off this conversation because they can be very difficult. Plus, we are very busy, but you may be surprised to find out that your loved one has been meaning to have a talk with you. Before you start the conversation, here are some things to consider. Look for an opening. For example, I just got my AARP magazine today, and there's some topics, like I read something about estate planning. Now, do you have any advice on estate planning? I also read in Matthew Conaughey's cover of AARP, they're talking about all the important papers. Sometimes you can also show me where yours are and what you like us to do just in case. Try not to anticipate what your loved one might say or how they will react. Just get the conversation started. Be open, express your love and concern, and most importantly, listen. Keep in mind that the conversation will likely take place over time. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time. It will take place over time. Now, respect your loved one's wishes. Make sure your loved one is participating in the conversation as much as possible. That's a really important point right there. It is very important to center your caregiving plan on the wishes of the person receiving the care. Where do they want to live? How do they want to handle their finances? What are the topics you feel would be important to discuss with someone you're caregiving for? If you have any suggestion, go ahead and type it in the chat room. What sort of topics you'd like to discuss with your loved ones? Now, you can also size up the situation. Once you get the conversation going, evaluate what you're hearing. Understanding your loved one's priorities, whether they want to live, and the nature of their care will help you figure out the next steps. Reviewing the finances. Money can be a very particular sensitive subject to talk about, but it is often at the heart of many decisions you'll make with your loved ones. You have to consider how you're going to pay for housing, your healthcare, and other expenses such as groceries, medications, transportations, etc. Now, ask your loved ones to review their bank accounts, their investments, their insurance coverage, and other relevant finances, their assets or incomes that can be used to cover these costs. Now, find out whether they have a long-term care insurance should they need it. Okay. Do we have any questions so far in the chat room? Are we good?
No questions so far.
No question. Thank you. Now, your loved one might say, I just don't want to talk about it, or look for ways to put off the conversation. Now, be very sensitive, but don't give up. It's hard for them to discuss what they may see as being a burden to you. If your first conversation doesn't go very well, try again. Start small, discussing just one aspect of your concerns. It may take time for your loved one to come around, but continue to emphasize that you care about them and want what's best for them. Introducing a trusted professional's opinion, someone who can serve as an impartial third party and is familiar with the caregiver experience, may help reduce resistance among the loved ones. You may also find that your loved one's initial response to your attempt to start the conversation is something like, "Hey, I just don't want to talk about it. Why don't we just go to Mango's and have a drink?" Keep in mind that some people are private by nature. Sometimes it's very difficult for someone to admit they need help, and as a result, you may encounter some resistance. If your first conversation doesn't go very well, of course, try again. If you're running into difficulty, try asking a trusted person, a trusted family friend, your doctor, your faith leader, or even your pharmacist or your doctor to share your concern. Now, additionally, as a result of past or present experiences, many LGBTQ older adults today are fearful or distrustful of medical and social service providers and isolate themselves from others rather than risk experiencing further discrimination. Many wish to keep their sexual orientation or gender identity secret altogether. If they enter a long-term care system, 78% of LGBTQ seniors stay in the closet. All issues we need to be aware of as we start the conversation, okay? Step 2, forming your team. Caring for a family member or a friend can be too big of a job for one person. Trying to do everything yourself may lead to burnout and problems with your own health and well-being. It is important to form a large network of family and friends and tap into community resources to share the load. Tap into Sacramento Rainbow Chamber of Commerce. Now, your loved one can help you identify willing team members who may or may not have taught that you may not have thought of in the past. Now, make sure to ask your loved ones for names of people they would trust or people who are able to fulfill specific needs of your loved ones. Perhaps these are neighbors or friends from the faith community or social circle. You will be more effective as a caregiver if you don't try to do it all alone. Remember the first time we talked about those red balls? There was too many to hold on to. Pretty soon all those red balls will fall down. You don't want to do that. Now find others who can help you, whether they're friends, your family members, community groups, or professional service providers. Now colleagues or clubs or religious and other organization affiliations as resources too. Stay focused on your loved ones. It will be more effective if the team recruited is closely connected to the person in need of caregiving. Look for team members who live nearby and can help with simple tasks. Sometimes though, if they live really quite far, technology has really helped those gaps of caregiving. Now, distance caregiving may also include roles involving financial matters, coordinating meals, and managing online ordering such as prescriptions, your groceries, and other needs. Share your talents. Leverage the talents and strengths of your team. For example, Lexi is really good with Zoom, so I'm always going to have to reach out to her for any computer issues that I have or computer problem, or have her set up a Zoom call with my loved ones. And someone who loves to garden, like Fred, who has so many vegetable gardens in his home, maybe he will be willing to help out with your loved ones in terms of gardening. Now, we updated this slide to the current new normal we are living in today, and that is to be sensitive to the COVID-19 health directives to protect your loved one's health, as well as your team members and your own well-being. Building and supporting your team. Now, figure out the number of team members. Both by quantity and quality are very important to think about when building your team. While having a large caregiving team can be helpful, now too many people might be too much to manage. Make sure everyone on the team is clear about their responsibilities. They should be very supportive and willing to lend a hand to you and your loved ones. Assign your roles and responsibilities. They should be very supportive and willing to lend a hand both to you and to your loved ones. Everyone has something to contribute. Play to each person's strength and be clear on what's needed and expected. Now, most importantly, focus on the care recipients. At times, in the heat of juggling multiple tasks, including your own, it is really understandable that this can be sometimes be overlooked. Bearing your mental or your physical incapacity or other extraordinary circumstances, the person receiving the care should play a significant role in figuring out who should be on the team and what needs to be done. That's a really important point right there, is to focus on the care of the recipient. To figure out where I went there for minutes. Step 3, making a plan. Now that you have a team filled with willing caregivers, it's time to start building out a plan and designating responsibilities. Always make sure your plans are being made with the person you are caring for at the center of the discussion. The plan doesn't have to be extensive or fancy. You can never anticipate every detail or scenario. The plan should always include the immediate needs as well as for the future needs. Now, keep in mind that the options for addressing needs will depend on the finances, of course, and the willingness of your support team and the resources available in your community. Start by holding a team meeting. And many of us have lots of practice holding virtual team meeting. First, meet your caregiving team. It's not likely going to take place face-to-face with everyone present, but so you can utilize conference calls, web-based conference meetings, emails, figure out what works really best for all. Next, assess the needs and the goals of your caregiving plan. Remember, this doesn't have to be extensive or fancy, as you can anticipate every detail or scenario. Just try to include immediate needs and broader plans for the future. Now, the Prepare to Care Guide offers an assessment of goals and needs on page 23 and 33. And you can see we have listed typical tasks in the areas of home maintenance, the health, finances, transportation, and more. Now, after you agree on the goals, delegate responsibilities for each of those goals. Make sure to figure out what tasks everyone is comfortable doing, and be sure to ask your team members about their preferences. Tips for the team meeting. Number 1 is to include the person, like I said earlier, include the person receiving the care. They should play as an active role, or they should play an active role as much as possible when assigning tasks and role. Communication. Try to keep everyone informed as things changes. Make sure that everyone knows about the discussion ahead of time so there are no surprises or hurt feelings. Yes, take notes. One family member should take notes and write a brief summary of what was decided. A written summary of the plan helps ensure that the wishes and needs of your loved ones have been considered and included. Finding the support is step 4. If you've come to realize that the scope of care needed for your loved ones is beyond what you or your team can provide, it is okay to reach out for extra support. There are a number of ways you can obtain the help you need. We encourage you to take a look at the LGBTQ Prepare to Care Guide, which includes many LGBTQ specific services such as SAGE Emergency Hotline, AARP Call Center at 1866 Pride 50, Transgender Law Center, Lambda Legal Hotlines, AARP Sacramento Rainbow Chamber of Commerce. So we've also emailed you sometimes before the workshop some resources guides that will also help you. Locate community resources such as your local agency on aging. They can help you to a variety of support services such as home delivered meals, transportations, adult daycare, care management, and more. Now, your local agency on aging can also answer questions about which resources are free and which may have a cost. You can also check into services offered in your community through the Elder Care Locator. The Elder Care Locator is a public service of the U.S. Administration on Aging. It connects a caregiver to local services and supports. For our LGBTQ community, you can locate many strong community centers through CenterLink, a community LGBT centers at www.lgbtcenters.org, or reach out to the Sacramento Rainbow Chamber of Commerce for resources. Now, you can also consult a professional. Oftentimes, your loved one's needs can be very complex, especially when health, emotional, and financial issues are at play. A trained social worker or nurse can help you sort things out. Again, the Elder Care Locator listed on page 21 of your book is a great resource to find such professionals. Now, don't forget to ask your employer if they offer an employee assistance program. They can also connect you to professionals and other services in your community. Now, you can also hire assistants to help you with your with the work, but also secure the safety to help your loved ones be safe and comfortable in their homes. Try incorporating handrails, grab bars, night lights, or adjustable shower seats. You can also check out AARP's Home Fit Guide at aarp.org/homefit for a whole range of solutions. I also offer that workshop for the community. It's called the Home Fit Workshop. Now you can also explore some housing options. A variety of housing with supportive services may be available in your community. Begin by making a list of criteria such as location, group dining is very important, laundry services, and more. Now, once you figured out the criteria you need, you can also visit several facilities and be sure to talk to the residents and their families. Now, for more information on housing options, go online and visit AARP's Caregiving Resource Center, and the web address is on the back cover of your guidebook. If you are considering a nursing home, go to Medicare's nursing home compare page at medicare.gov/nursing home compare. There is a detailed information about every Medicare and Medicaid certified home in the country. Thank you for that in the chat, that reference. Step 5, the final step, of course, is the most important part, is to care for yourself. Don't overlook the impact of caregiving on you. Pay attention to your health and well-being. The best way to ensure you have energy to take care for a loved one is to take care of yourself. Here are some tips. Tap into resources. Social workers, nurses, and other professionals can guide you through care options and help monitor the care if you don't live nearby. Use of technology, personal emergency response system, remote monitoring devices, and mobile apps can help you coordinate care. Ask your employer. Some employers offer benefits or services to support family caregivers. Review finances.
Very rich.
review finances, and talk to
Um,
your,
don't be jealous that I haven't spoiled my riches on you.
is that for me?
Chris, I
Um,
think
I'm
I think
okay.
I think the person I think the person's comment was to marry wealthy is what.
Oh, is that what you said? Sorry, I'm looking. That's really good. Thank you for that. Review your finances. Now, talk to your doctor is one of them. Let them know that you're a caregiver and discuss ways to manage stress. You should also consult with your loved ones, doctors for training if you are expected to do complex medical tasks at home. Now, take advantage of caregiving services and support. Services and support groups can help you throughout your caregiving journey. Take a break. Make time for exercise, make time for your sleep, healthy eating, and don't forget to stay connected with your friends. Very important. Now we have wrapped up the 5 steps for prepare to care. But this is just the beginning. AARP offers a variety of online information, resources, in-person events when we get there, and self-paced learning for all family caregivers. I want to be sure to mention the 3 resources: AARP's Caregiving Resource Center, which is I can give you the phone number is actually posted on the slide. It's 1-877-333-5885. The telephone number is also on the back of your Prepare to Care guide. ARP Learn at 50 plus websites. You can visit this site to learn about local in-person events and to explore interactive educational videos and webinars on caregiving. This month, I am spotlighting a master chef of Mikuni, Kotaro Ari, on our workshop. So please stay tuned for the registration for that. Also, AARP Pride. AARP created LGBT resource for the community and its allies. In addition to caregiving information on AARP's dedicated Pride page, aarp.org/pride, you can find helpful tips and backgrounds on the work AARP is doing in your neighborhood to support you. Additionally, you can call AARP's LGBT toll-free number at 1-866-PRIDE-50. I also would like to remind you that your LGBT Prepare to Care guide has a variety of resources, including your local area agency on aging and elder care locator in the back of the book. Thank you. We have come to the end of our show. So if you have any question, please feel free to um, get your phone off the mute, or if you feel like you want to be on camera, feel free to get on the camera and ask any questions that you may have or any comments.
Chris, one comment I think that goes without saying is one of your points was to care for yourself. I think a lot of us, when we've cared for other people, everyone tells you to take care of yourself, eat right, exercise, take breaks, all the things that you mentioned. But that's the hardest thing to do, is to remember to care for yourself. And if you can't care for yourself, you're not going to be there for the person you're trying to care for.
Right, absolutely. Because, imagine it's a car without gas. You can't go anywhere because you're done. You're stuck. So I think the most important part really is to take care of yourself before you can take care of somebody else. Remember, you're in the plane. Remember those times when you're in the airplane, when there's a turbulence, they always announce, put your mask on first, and then put that mask on the person next to you, not to your husband, but to the person next to you. So that's the same idea. They make sure you take care of yourself first really quickly and take care of that somebody right next to you or the person that you're taking care of. Yeah. In
Yeah,
AARP, we are offering a lot of self-help stuff that you can do at home. We offer like movies for grown-up. It's a free movies that we show to the community. It's free. We offer a lot of cooking shows. We just did a cooking show on how to cook lumpia and pancits from Chef Roline. So next month, of course, we're doing demonstrating the sushi making from Chef Kotaro Ari or Taro. He'll be showing that up. Yeah, I'm excited.
And Chris, when you have that information, we'll make sure we share that on Rainbow Chamber's social media and invite folks to join you for that sushi making workshop. That sounds fun.
Absolutely, of course. Any comments? What did you learn? Anything?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say, when I went through my situation with the passing of Michael, I mean, I really wish that, you know, I had these resources. I think in general, I did a really good job in terms of, you know, all the steps and all the points you made. But I think in retrospect, probably where I feel a little bit incomplete is really having having had those final conversations, you know, because I just didn't believe he was going to die. And I couldn't, and it was really hard for me to talk about, well, you know, you're going to die or those kind of steps, you know? And so I wish at that time I would have had somebody to really reach out for at that time, but you know, I mean, I feel okay and everything, but it was, it's important that, you know, that people recognize just the value of all the communication that we just received today, because it can happen so quickly where all of a sudden you're just thrust into that role of being a caregiver and you think you know it all, but there's lots of stuff you discover along the way that you don't know. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. You know, in the back of the book, the Prepare to Care Guide, and by the way, those are also available hard copy. We can always order online for free, by the way. It'll give you items that you have to make sure you remember, like finances. You can just list down everything. You can use that book as a guide to prepare yourself to care for that person. But always remember that you are very important to that person. So you always have to make sure you take care of yourself, and don't always have friends. Friends are there to help you, support you too.
And Chris, obviously, I mean, the whole idea of this is to prepare in advance because life can change in an instant. I mean, many of us care for a loved one and you think you're doing a lot, and then something happens like they have a fall. And next thing you know, you're doing a heck of a lot more than you thought you were going to need to do. And you're sacrificing and putting your own needs aside, and the person continues to deteriorate if they had a fall or some sort of a trauma or have dementia or Alzheimer's or any memory issues. And so I think your main message here is to prepare in advance and have all your ducks in a row, as they say. And that's the best advice, but I don't think anybody really wants to listen to that until it's right in front of them sometimes. So your messaging today is very well taken. I thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And you can always reach out to me if you have any questions or just want to have a conversation. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat room, and then you can always directly email me. And if you want this free workshop, of course, you can also reach out to Fred, or we can offer it to your employer too, if you want this shown to, or this workshop to be presented to your company. We can always do it for you. And we do it in different, I don't do the Chinese, unfortunately, but we can offer it in a general population version. Yeah.
Well, do we have any other comments or questions from the audience? And again, feel free to put some questions in the chat while we wrap things up. Chris is on our Rainbow Chamber board, so you can always reach out to Chris via Rainbow Chamber of Commerce, of course. And again, we will include some of this information in a follow-up in our next newsletter. And if you're not a member of the Chamber, as I mentioned at the beginning of this call, just simply go to our website, rainbowchamber.com. At the very bottom of the page, there's a button that says join our newsletter. Just simply put your email in there. And then if you ever want to opt out, you can always certainly opt out. We try to keep our communications to a minimum, not to flood your emails, so we respect that. Rainbowchamber.com is also where you can find membership information. We also are in the middle of our scholarship. So those of you who may have somebody that is studying undergrad, graduate, or any vocational education schools, Our scholarship application is open until June 30th, which is coming up fast. My gosh, I can't believe it's going to be half the year is over. But our scholarships are open to any LGBTQ plus students and allies. You do not have to be LGBTQ to apply for our scholarship. We'd just like you to state in your scholarship application what you're going to do to better the LGBT community and the community as a whole. So we're all in this together, obviously, and we're all aging. So we're all going to have to be in this boat one way or another, whether we're taking care of a loved one or someone's going to be taking care of us. That's knocking on the door for some of us. But Chris, we're so glad to have you do this presentation today, and we're so proud to have you as part of our board of directors. Lexi, thank you for all your back end office systems help and everything today. Richard Hernandez, thank you so much. Board members, thank you for being here. As we mentioned, we also recorded this call, so we'll make this recording available. And I think Chris is available if any of you would like to take this to your places of business, work, or some of your volunteer activities. Chris and some of her crew can help you get a workshop out to your community as well. So
We do have one really good question in the chat. Chris, if you want me to read it to you.
Yes, please.
We have a question asking if there are any LGBTQ caregiver support groups in the Sacramento area.
You know, I don't know. If we do you know, Fred?
So I think I would direct folks, the only place I would know that might have that is the LGBT Center. I know they have a senior group that meets, I don't know if they meet in person anymore, but they had an elder group or a senior group that met. And I'm guessing they might have some support groups. That's possible. I also think some of the hospital systems do have some of those available. I know when my mother and father were declining, the hospital that they were part of that program reached out to me, and they did have some support groups. So I think there's probably some opportunities out there. We'll connect with the LGBT Center and ask that question if we can find out some information. The person who asked that, if you're not familiar with the LGBT Center, they're right here in Midtown, and they have a lot of really great resources.
Thank you for that.
And I love Bonnie Osborne's comment, better than the alternative. That's definitely true, Bonnie.
That's right. I'm also going to put the link right now because I found it for my upcoming chef sushi demonstration. There it is.
Oh, fantastic, Chris. And that's online or in person, Chris?
It's going to be virtual.
So we don't get to taste anything.
I know, unfortunately, next year.
I might have to get some sushi to go so I can actually visualize and taste while I do.
That'll be exciting. So, but I'm going to hopefully do a sushi pairing with him. So it'll be
fantastic, fantastic. All right, so if there's not any more questions, let's be respectful of your time. We're almost right on the hour. Good job, Chris, for keeping us on time. Thank you, everybody. Again, rainbowchamber.com. If you have any questions or comments or need membership information, we're here to help you. So we hope you all have the great rest of the evening, whatever your plans are, and hopefully you're going to take some of this into action and go sit down and make a list of how you're going to prepare to care and how you're going to be ready with some of Chris's suggestions.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.